Hey sportsmen, John Bergsma here, and we're here at Snug Harbor Outdoors in Muskegon, Michigan. We're bringing you 5 great reports again, 4 ice fishing reports. Buckle up, we got some awesome ice fishing happening in our last open water report of the season right here from Muskegon Lake in Muskegon. Stay tuned. So hey, we're starting way up in the western upper peninsula on Lake Gogebic with an awesome ice fishing report. Tim and Sarah Long at the Timbers Resort tell me that the guys in their cabins are up there ice fishing, not snowmobiling. They don't have a lot of snow actually. It's very different from most years. But what's been wonderful about that, Tim tells me, is we don't have any slushy ice. We got good, clean, clear ice. They're not struggling with too much snow early, which is sometimes a problem when you're trying to make ice and get ice fishing going. But Berglund Bay, the whole of Berglund Bay has been kicking out a really nice mixed bag of fish. Tim's got a bait shop right there at the Timbers Resort, stocked up with minnows and all of the best baits for that particular lake and area. And so he tells me it's been less than 10 feet in and around offshore in Berglund Bay and out into Berglund Bay, wherever you're finding lay down weeds. That's been the key. So if you're headed up to Lake Gogebic, if you're headed up to Timbers or one of the other great resorts on the lake, you're going to want to fish that Berglund Bay area or any shoreline areas that have got laid down weeds. Laid down weeds have been the ticket. Now, guys are fishing walleye, they're fishing perch and big crappies. That's been the ticket. Now, when you're fishing walleye, let me jump out of the camera here and grab this bait because the guys at White River Tackle have this Luna jig. That's what it is. It's a Luna jig. And what it is it's a jigging spoon. And they come in a variety of accented colors. And you tip them with a minnow head if you're aggressively jigging, or you dorsal behind the dorsal or tail hook them if you're going to dead stick them. Now this bait has been really, really good. It comes in different sizes, and really when you're fishing up in Gogebic or anywhere that you're targeting walleye, you're going to want to have that jigging spoon set maybe a couple, 2-3 inches off the bottom when you're holding it at rest, and then you're going to want to work it and then stop. And a lot of times I pound the bottom to create a little silt poof and then hold it up above where that silt is moving around. And then that's kind of the idea with a jigging spoon. You're trying to attract fish in and then they hit it. Now, a minnow head, if you're being real aggressive, a full live minnow if you're going to dead stick. And a lot of guys do both. You'll hold one and work it aggressively to draw fish in. And a lot of times, believe it or not, it's the dead stick that'll go when you're doing that because it's just down there with that live minnow struggling. And so that's been the thing. Now, the pike fishing's been good, so if you're up there and you got a bunch of guys on the ice, just set up a spread of tip-ups right along the break, right where it rolls from shallow water flats to deeper water. That seems to be the ticket. Remember when you're setting tip-ups, always keep those babies about a foot, 1.5 foot off the bottom with a good lively minnow, because pike like to cruise and they'll see what's in front of them, they'll survey it, they'll come up, no problem, they'll locate your bait. Same thing though, in and around weeds. Weeds seems to be the ticket right now on Lake Gogebic. So if you're planning a trip for that ice fishing, you're in southern Michigan, there's no safe ice in southern Michigan at all, take my word for it. Head on up to the Upper Peninsula. They've got some great fishing opportunities on Lake Gogebic. Are you in the market for a new trailer? For all your trailer needs, big or small, visit Beck's Trailer SUPERstore on Highway 127 north of St. John's. So our next stop, we're going to stay right there in the Upper Peninsula. We're going to slide a little bit towards the bridge. We got Mike Hosiera from Marquette Adventures tells me that things are just ramping up even more than last time we talked about it. Mike runs Marquette Adventures, which is a year-round adventure guide service which takes you on all kinds of different fishing themed orientated trips, whether it's stream fishing in the fall, ice fishing right now, and also big lake fishing in the open water period. Mike is the man to contact at Marquette Adventures. Now, he tells me the inland lakes are frozen solid. they've got some good trout activity going on for the first time as well. So inland lakes, it's bluegills. It's 10 to 15 feet of water, somewhere in there. A lot of these inland lakes have got real pronounced shelves, and you'll want to fish right on the edge of that roll where you've got, same thing as in Gogebic, where you've had a little past weed activity. That seems to be the best. It's holding good groups of bluegills. Now, if you're pike fishing has been nonstop. Mike tells me the inland lakes in Marquette County are known for first ice activity when it comes to northerns. You can see as the pictures go across the screen, they're not catching hammer handles. They are catching nice fish right now up in Marquette County. A lot of different lakes are active. Mike will make sure he gets you out on the right one. If you're going up there with a family or just a group of guys and want to just get out, you tell him what species you want to target. He takes care of the rest and gets you out there and having a lot of fun. So tip up, same thing. It's always the same with tip up fishing for pike. I'm always setting my bait about 18 inches off the bottom with a good lively minnow. Make sure you're checking to make sure your minnow is still on. A lot of times a minnow, a lively one, will struggle, work them way and come off. I've had it more than a few times last year where I went and checked up, no flag and the minnow's gone. So just stay on top of it. Make sure you're always every hour or two going and pulling your line up, making sure you still got good bait, making sure that bait is still lively. But if you're looking for trout action, jigging for trout has been really good as well. Mike tells me right away is already going with jaw jackers and a variety of other type of jigging baits. So again, get a hold of Mike from Marquette Adventures. Marquette County has got safe ice end to end on most of the inland lakes and a lot of great opportunities for ice fishing. So give Mike a call. And Marquette County from now until March is going to be in our reports frequently. This is a destination for ice fishermen. They've got just a jillion lakes up there. You've got every type of species, and you got guys that know what they're doing. So we're here with Lee from WavePro, and one of the most important aspects of the WavePro shock to me as a past tournament angler is the square footage, is the fact that WavePro just doesn't occupy any bigger of a footprint in my boat than just a regular old seat base that would come standard from the factory. And what's the weights that we're dealing with? Because that's another issue to a lot of people. Some of our competitive products are really bulky and heavy.
Yeah, ours are 6-7 pounds depending on the version of it. And
right, so
we
four
use
of
the
them.
Same bolt holes as Atwood and Springfield.
Right.
And we even have Gaylord's footprint.
Right, and I noticed what's really cool for me too is just the quick changeover. You know, I mean, you back those screws out, the same screws that are in there from the factory, remove that factory base, drop the WavePro product on, right back into the same holes. I've done it on 2 different models of boats now, and it's worked perfectly every time. And the other thing I like is if you notice it throughout the show, for me, I know when I drive, I like, and like everybody, they have certain positions they like to put their feet and angles to put their legs so that they feel comfortable when they're running. When you have our product, we're not robbing any of that space below the seat that stops you from putting that foot at the particular angle that you're comfortable running.
Yeah, you can tuck them under the seat and to the side where there's no restriction there. You can put a cooler under them if you need to. Right,
exactly, and that's the thing. I have a spoon box when I salmon fish, and that spoon box is probably only 8 inches high, but it nestles perfectly along the wall, and I like keeping it there. If I hadn't had the WavePro, that space would be gone. I wouldn't be able to use it for that. So it's a little thing, but the little things all added up mean that the WavePro is a superior seat base and it's a superior product for your boat. Hey guys, we're going to drop below the bridge and we're talking with Dan Miller, a guest reporter. And guys, if you want to be a guest reporter, really all you got to do is have an awesome report with a good group of pictures from, you know, in the last few days, nothing old, and we can get you on the Fisherman's Digest Hot Bites report. So Dan reports from the Gaylord area, and he says that right now the fishing up there is just fantastic, nothing short of fantastic. As you see these pictures go across, you'll know what I'm talking about. Big bluegills. Dan's got some really good area lakes that he's been targeting, and he's got the system down. And when you touch the fishing report link, when you go to fishermansdigest.com and you go to the Gaylord area and touch that link to the fishing report, you're going to get a full in-depth how Dan is targeting these big gills. He's doing something different. He's not starting on the shorelines during early ice. He's going right out to the basin areas of the lake, right where those late fall gills were schooled up before ice happened. And he is targeting that deep water on that soft bottom right away. And as you see by the size of the fish that he's catching, I think he might be onto something. So he talks about doing a big spread in an area where you're familiar. And I think a lot of guys, one of the things that you really got to understand about being a good early ice fisherman is also spending a few days in November and early December on the water with a boat. In other words, those fish don't go far. If you don't know where they're at pre-ice, you're likely going to struggle to find out where they're at on first ice. So that's one of the things Dan and his buddies do, is they keep their boat ready, whether it's in a heated garage or a building or a barn. They fish right up until early ice, and it only makes sense that as soon as the lake slicks over, just where those fish were, very close to where those fish were during the open water period, they're still there on first ice. And then it's a lot easier to stay with them as you move around with the fish. So read that report in depth. He's using heavy tungsten. He's tipping it with a variety of different baits or plastics. He's got very specific colors and stuff that he uses. We'll talk about that a little bit later. I'm sure this won't be Dan's first submission to us, but the Gaylord area, northern Michigan on up, seems to have a lot of the smaller inland lakes seems to have safe ice. Again, safe ice practices. Go fishing with more than one person. Always wear a life preserver during early ice. So if you do go through, you're not spending all your energy trying to stay afloat. You can worry about having your buddies throw you the rope, get it around you, and haul you back out of there without them having to come too close to you. So those are just things. Listen, what I do is I don't wear the big orange life preserver. Don't be stupid. Wear the ones that inflate when you go into the water. So they're really nice and tight. You can just throw them on over your ice fishing suit, and they'll only, they're only going to activate if you fall through. So it's not a big encumbrance at all to you. So it's really just you want to come back and fish another day. And that's really the way it is when it comes to early ice. You've got to be safe. Always remember, no matter if you're a power auger guy or not, early ice requires a spud. The guy in front has got to be testing the ice. You've got to be checking to make sure that you're not walking into a methane bubble area or something like that, especially on the smaller lakes. But hey, Gaylord's going, big bluegills are going. Get out there this weekend. We've got super cold weather Thursday and Friday, so we should have awesome ice fishing post-Christmas. Hey, are you in the market for a small outdoor shed, carport, or small storage building? Visit my friends up at Midwest Steel Carports. They'll travel anywhere in the Lower Peninsula to install your shed or carport for you. Visit them online at MidwestSteelCarports.com. So hey, we're going to drop down to Cadillac, and we're talking Chris Canezo and Steve from Pilgrim's Village. They tell me they've got safe ice on a majority of the shorelines of their lakes. Now, we still wouldn't tell you to go venture right out into the deeper areas of Mitchell and Cadillac, but certainly around the shoreline edges, a lot of areas have got 4 or 5 inches of ice, and you got to be careful yet, but we've got Christmas Eve, brutal cold, Christmas Day, very cold. I'm thinking Saturday after Christmas on is going to be, boom, lights out there in that Cadillac region of Mitchell, Cadillac, up on Missaukee and Lake City as well. Guys, Chris tells me those early daring few are catching some really nice crappie, really nice ones. They're catching in mid-depth in around 10 foot of water, halfway down with minnows. Just typically crappie fishermen, in my experience up there, are not using a jig. They're using the simplest of rigs. They're using a split shot, a gold hook, and just a really, really delicately placed hook job behind the dorsal so that that fish can run free and struggle. And it's that movement that's triggering the crappies. So halfway down, 10-ish, 8 to 10 feet of water, in and around the laydown weeds again. That seems to be an early season pattern almost anywhere you go. But Lake Mitchell, Lake Cadillac, Lake Missaukee up there in the greater Cadillac region, if you're looking for a great time the day after Christmas, that along with Gaylord is going to be 2 great options for you here in Michigan. Hey sportsmen, John Bergsman here from the Fisherman's Digest. We're talking with Mike from Flo-Fast. We're talking about outdoor utility vehicles and the uses and all the different variations of ways that you can use your Flo-Fast system. Mike, talk to us about the amazing system that you have here that just makes things easier.
You know, ATVs today, whether it's a utility vehicle, a side-by-side, they use a lot of fuel, hold a lot of fuel, and if you're riding them hard, they burn through it quickly. You know, we've got a multitude of container sizes from a 7.5 to a 10.5 to a 15 gallon in size. We make a steel cart. It's got solid rubber tires and wheels. And one of the unique things is that you can transfer the pump very quickly from can to can. So if you need more capacity, you can just buy additional containers and transfer the pump. The pump system, it's very safe, it's easy to use, and you can move up to 8 gallons per minute with it. So you can refuel one of these very, very quickly.
The Flo-Fast system will make everything in your ownership of these type of vehicles so much more convenient and also environmentally friendly. No more gas spillage. If you want to learn more about Flo-Fast, check them out at flofast.com. So here we are in Snug Harbor Outdoors, and we're surrounded by what else? A gajillion ice fishing rods. They are all set up, ready to go for the ice fishermen. But guess what? We're here talking about open water fishing. Why? Because we've had warmer than normal temperatures here in December, and we've still got open boat ramps and open water. Captain Nick Dude from Real Live Action Sport Fishing Charters turned in a bunch of awesome pictures from last night and the night before. Nick will be out tonight. Nick will be out on Wednesday. You can guarantee we've got warm temperatures coming. What's he doing? He's trolling big baits. They got them right here on the shelf behind me. Rapalas, the big Husky 12s and 14s in the big deep jerk. They've got custom colors. These guys here know all the right colors, so when you stop in, they can put you onto them. They're trolling them on the edges in 10 to 20 foot, right on the break. Nick's trolling them. Now, he's also always not forgetting you're in Muskegon Lake, so that means you're always going to put a great big shallow dive in number 18 out with 1, 2, 3 split shots. You have to kind of play with that a little bit, but the speed has been the key. Nick tells me slow and slow, meaning 1.0, 1.1, right in there dancing with 1 mile an hour seems to be the ticket. Now, here's another unique thing Nick has been doing. When you put your boat on that break, and you got 2 guys in the boat plus Captain Nick, right? People would tend to get bored. So what is Nick having them do? The guy in the bow of the boat, they're reserving one line from trolling so they can legally do this, and the guy in the bow of the boat is casting out a great big shallow dive and jerk bait and doing the old jerk baiting while you troll. When you're only going 1 mile an hour, you can easily do this, which is quarter up cast in front of the boat, and then as the boat's moving, you work that jerk bait back to you. Nick said he has caught some sleds in the front of the boat. His customers have been doing that trolling / casting routine. And when you see these pictures, you'll know what I'm talking about. Really nice Muskegon Lake walleye. Now, the guys at Snug Harbor also tell me that perch fishing's not done. If you're out there in that mid basin area, that 60, 65 foot depth, and you're using perch rigs, I mean, I'm always a perch pounder guy. My White River stuff is never far from my boat. But if you do that, live minnows from Snug Harbor, along with some perch rigs, will get you out in the middle in that 60, 65 foot, right on the bottom, guys. If there's one tip the guys behind the counter are telling me, peg that bait to the bottom. Be really sensitive. That means you're going to want to use a little bit heavier sinker. You're going to want to put a slight bend in your rod tip so that you can see the very slightest of bites, because when you fish that tight bottom bite, you're not going to get a lot of movement when the fish hits. But trust me, that seems to be the way to catch them right now. Some really nice limits coming out of here. So if you've got the rest of this week probably for open water fishing, after that it's going to be probably lights out. The bays, the ramps are going to freeze up, and we're going to be right back here in a couple, 2-3 weeks talking to you from Snug Harbor about winter fishing on Muskegon Lake, which, trust me, is some of the best winter fishing anywhere here in the southern lower. So Snug Harbor Outdoors, trolling and casting big walleyes, deep fishing for perch. Get over here to the Muskegon area. You all got the weekend off. You can't tell me you don't, so you got to get your boat and you got to get out here. Hey, wasn't that great? 4 ice fishing reports, which everybody wants right now, and still an open water report with a little precursor to ice fishing here in Muskegon. So whatever you do, get out somewhere this weekend. It's a Merry Christmas. Our governor doesn't want us to do anything. You know what I say? Get out there and do something safe. If you want to wear a mask, wear your mask if it makes you feel better. But get in a boat, get out with your family, get out there and enjoy Michigan's outdoors, because it'll put a smile on your face, and right now we all need a smile on our face. Hey, we'll see you next week on the Hot Bites Fishing Report.